house. And so she goes back to, because she knows her dad's supposed to be home. She goes back to his bedroom and she says she puts her hand on the door handle and this feeling just overcomes her. And then she's like, I don't believe in psychics or anything like that. I'm not trying to be weird. She's like, but I just had this feeling. And she opened the door and she discovered her father deceased. And she said that day she just felt that feeling. And she said she hadn't felt it since that other time. She even said, quote, that day, I feel like she died. I just felt it in my soul. Like she just knew. Paige's father was also incredibly heartbroken and he died during this time. And I didn't see why, but he was an addict. And they said that it was like over heartbreak, like a family member said that. So who knows? In September of 2019, so this is 9 years after she went missing, updates said that there would be a new case review to examine new leads and to use new technologies for new evidence. It was just like new. In March of 2020, so we're looking at just a couple months ago, nearly 10 years after Paige went missing, a married couple was like hunting in East Fork Lake, Ohio, where Jacob's cell phone pinged, and they searched the 10,000-acre state park. Mm-hmm. They were hunting about a mile from there, and they found a human skull with burn marks. The remains were identified as Paige Johnson via dental records. A mile and a half from where Jacob's phone pinged that night. The area her body was found in wasn't originally searched because it was terribly difficult to navigate. It's swampy, it's muddy. They had to use chainsaws to get to it. When you're hunting, like depending on how like into it you are, like you might be crawling on the ground, you're like getting in the brush. Like, let's talk about hunting I don't know how to hunt. I've never done it.
I don't think Sarah has any idea.
I'm like, you're climbing trees, like you're an archer.
Essentially just army crawl around.
That's how I imagine it. Like you're into it. You go in the squirrel holes and live underground.
Depending on how into it you are.
You might live underground for a while. Like we don't know how that happens. None of us know. Anyways.
You should teach a hunting class.
You'd be the only person who came just to throw some stuff at me.
Tomatoes.
So one of the reasons it wasn't searched was because they were like, well, one, it was about a mile away from the park. But the other reason is that they were like, it's like no one could get in there.
Except Jacob.
Yeah, except I guess if you're hiding a body. A cause of death has not yet been determined, but she did have some burn marks on bones. But they're going to try.
But how deep do you have to burn someone to get burn marks on their bones?
I know. But also they could have
just thrown her body in a fire.
And then after postmortem, maybe they lit it, trying to get rid of it. And the fire went out because it's a swampy area, and it's September.
But, man.
Yeah. So Mike, the guy seen carrying her out, failed a polygraph, which may or may not be important. Because Paige's body was recovered, obviously the investigation has really come to life again. Like there's just this resurgence with it. And they're really close to solving her case. The detective said, which I love this quote, the detective said, quote, "The guilty have to be lucky every single day for the rest of their lives. We only have to get lucky once, one day."
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I love that. Paige's family has a page on what happened to Paige Johnson, like a web page. And they say this. Quote, "Paige was left lifeless in a wooded field for almost 10 years of lonely days and nights. Paige is finally coming home to us," which is like sad to think, but yeah, they just left her there. Mackenzie, Paige's daughter, lives with her father's parents, and she's now 12, which like is crazy.
Yeah, she'll never know. She doesn't remember her mom, which is heartbreaking.
And Brittany is sober now, the sister, and she's doing well. She has 3 children and is married. The Covington police are still looking for tips because they only found her body 2 months ago. So it's still an open investigation.
Well, it's just going to kick back up and like start over.
Well, and they're absolutely going to look into Jacob and maybe Mike because, that's where his phone pinged.
Yeah. And
she was with him. So I add up the dots. Covington police are still looking for tips and are really, really close to solving the case. So if you have any tips about this case at all, you can call 859-292-2222, easy to remember, or 1-800-THE-LOST, which is like a very common thing for missing persons tips. But that's the case of Paige Johnson, and I have a feeling they're going to like close it this year.
Yeah, we want an update on this.
Yeah, I'll add it to my
follow
list.
This one. Wow.
It's kind of long. You want another beer?
Yes. Okay. I picked this beer for my case because my case happened in 1961 and this beer is from 1966, which is close enough.
What do you mean the beer's from 1966?
It's been sitting on the shelf since 1966. This beer is called 1966 Coffee IPA, which I'm not going to lie, kind of sounds disgusting. This is an ale brewed with peats, Ethiopian washed, and natural coffee beans.
It could be good.
It's a coffee IPA with Pete's Coffee from 21st Amendment Brewery.
I really apologize because I don't remember who said this, but a while ago, someone was like, why do you keep buying beers you know you'll hate? Stop that.
Listen, we're trying these for you ungrateful people.
Yes, come on. There's a reason we're trying these, so you don't have to if they're terrible. I'm excited. It doesn't look like coffee at all. It's the same color as the last one. It's just like a golden honey color. Does it smell like coffee?
No.
Clunky little cheers there.
You think it smells like coffee?
No. It smells like new leather boots.
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay, it tastes like coffee.
It's
but in a good way.
Good. It is.
It tastes like
weird.
It tastes like the bitter finish of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. It's refreshing.
Really, really
It's like
good.
an iced coffee with IPA.
Yeah.
But in a good way. You guys, you have to try this.
See, this is why we get beers that we think will be gross, because sometimes they're good. And I'm not salty at all about your comment. I'm just kidding. You're a very nice person. I think I remember who said that, and you're very, very nice. And I'm a bit.
It was someone very nice. But if it was someone mean.
This is delicious. I love it. And to think it's been sitting on the shelf since 1966.
You guys should have opened it
Maybe
years
it's not
ago.
coffee. Maybe it's just like old and moldy. Just kidding. That's gross.
The bitterness of age.
Why are we this way?
I'm excited to listen. Oh, don't. You little diva.
That was disgusting. Okay. On top of my page, I wrote Kentucky because why not? That was funny.
I mean, you at least thought that, so.
Okay. Shut the fuck up. I'm adjusting
your nasal cavity.
My whole nose.
Your sinuses.
My whole nose.
Well, you need to make a nose adjustment.
Hey, I have a deviated septum. Okay, I'm sorry. I bet a lot of celebrities do struggle from a deviated septum. But can I just say that 100% of celebrities who get a nose job say it's because they have a deviated septum? I'm going to guess at least half of them are lying.
What if that's a prereq to being famous?
All celebrities have a deviated.
I have one. Okay, I'm not a celebrity, but
I'm just saying, okay, and now I'm being an asshole because women are under way more pressure. And if you're a woman over 25 in Hollywood, the only role they'll give you is the one of a grandma. I get it, ladies. I don't get it because I'm not living that life, but I get it.
Yeah, the pressure of beauty, but also...
But I'm just saying, do you all have deviated septum?
That's our next episode, the conspiracy of deviated septums.
I'm just saying. I don't care, but I'm just saying there's no way. These are the kind of thoughts I have in the shower.
For how much yelling there was, it sounded an awful lot like we cared.
No, we don't. Today, I want to tell you the story of Betty Gail Brown.
All right.
Okay, my sources. I can't write. The Lexington Herald, an article by Cheryl Truman, Find a Grave, which actually had a shit ton of information.
Sometimes it does.
Kentucky Forward, which is an online newspaper. Mm-hmm. They're very forward.
Yep, not going back.
The Rambler, which is a college newspaper. And
Did you write that?
Oh. Yes. And WKYT News, which is local Kentucky. So, and Kayla Gross wrote the paper in the article in the Rambler. This case has a link to another case I did, but I'm sorry to say you all won't know it. This case...
I thought you said you had faith in our listeners.
It was a Patreon episode.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a Patreon episode about the library heist at Transylvania College.
Oh.
This case takes place at Transylvania College.
Wow, you just found that reason you needed to become a patron right there.
Yeah, and they call it Transy College, which I don't like.
I don't like that either.
I'm going to call it Transylvania, which I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, the heist episode. Oh, and if you don't want to, or if you can't join Patreon. And
we released the heist episode, actually, as a bonus episode.
Oh, shit, we did. So you do all know.
Yeah, what? If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to our bonus Transylvania library episode.
There you go. You do all know. And if you have HBO, which I just got, I saw American Animals.
I just got it too.
Yes, you're welcome. American Animals is on HBO, and that is the movie about the library heist. And it is so good because it goes back and forth between the four men who committed or tried to commit the heist to the actors play. Like, it goes back and forth. It is such a good movie. So you have HBO. I highly recommend American Animals and The Righteous Gemstones.
Awesome.
So Betty Gail Brown was born on May 4th, 1942. She was just 19 at the time of her death. So super young. Oh my God. Super young. Same as Paige. She was a college student at Transylvania University, which I've said is the same from the library heist episode. She was a French major, big doe eyes, very, very beautiful. She was a member of the Phi Mu sorority. She was super kind. She was very studious, focused. She was a Sunday school teacher at her local church. She still lived with her parents and just commuted to class. Her mom, Quincy, and her dad, Hargis, which I fucking love their names.
Quincy and Hargis?
Yes.
Is that a sitcom? I love it.
I know. She commuted to school every day. So I'm just going to jump right in.
Yeah.
On October 26th, 1961, Quincy, and this is the sweetest thing ever, it just melts my heart, because Betty still lived at home. Quincy says that this night she went and put a heating pad in her daughter's bed. So because it was this cold October evening, she didn't want Betty to be cold when she came home.
Aww.
And then Quincy went to bed to go read. But Betty never made it home that night.
No.
And I'm kind of going to jump around a little bit. I'm sorry. I'll get into more of that night, but
we're smart and we'll follow.
Yes, I have faith in you. Betty's car was found, because this is all happening simultaneously, so I'm just going to piece it together.
Okay.
Betty's car was found by a Lexington policeman who was patrolling the campus around 3 a.m. It was parked outside Transylvania College, and Betty was still inside. She had been strangled to death with her own bra.
Oh, she was in the car.
Yeah, she was in the car, deceased.
Oh, how sad.
And her bra was on the, somewhere next to her. She'd been strangled with her bra.
Oh, that's terrible.
Police records state that Betty left a nearby building around midnight and that she was killed sometime between then and 1 a.m. and she wasn't found until 3. She had not been sexually assaulted, hadn't been raped.
Oh.
Her purse, books, everything was still there. Everything was untouched. Nothing was missing. Her keys were in the back seat. It's no motive sticks out. It seems like just a random killing. She also had a dent in the top of her head, a small dent, and a broken fingernail. So police said there was a lot of evidence that she fought back hard.
Yeah.
And what's really weird is a witness actually reported seeing her when this came out. A witness came forward and reported seeing Betty driving her car about 10 minutes away from the streets her parents lived on. So how did she get back to the school? Did she go back and forget something? Could she have been forced to go back?
Yeah.
The night Betty didn't come home, her mom actually was still awake reading, and she actually went searching for Betty at the campus. Because she was Betty's never late. It's the 60s. She'd come home. So her mom goes out driving. But the building that Betty's car was parked in front of isn't a building she had classes in. It's not a building her mom knew of. So her mom actually went to the school, drove around 3 different times, but never turned towards that building because it's not one that she would think Betty would be at. The 3rd time she's driving around, a policeman actually stops her. And this is when Quincy learns that her daughter had died.
Oh, that's so sad. I was breathy in mine too. I don't know.
I think we hold our breath because we get going so much.
Yeah.
There were no leads by police, and the Transylvania Strangler, as it had been dubbed, quickly became somewhat of a local boogeyman. This case went cold as fast as it came to be.
Well, how creepy is that, though?
Yeah, it was just this random killing. It was talked about by anyone and everyone. The randomness of the murder completely shook the town of Lexington. This is a young college student attacked, killed for seemingly no reason at all.
Yeah.
It got really weird. So I'm going to talk about the investigation now, but for lack of a better way to put it, the investigation just kind of became chaos. Not because of what the police were doing, but okay, so for instance, at the funeral, a classmate just yells out in the middle of Betty's funeral, "I know who did it. I know who did it."
Oh.
This goes nowhere. The classmate didn't actually know and eventually tells police that she was just running through theories in her head.
Ew, that kind of creeped me out a little.
Yeah. Oh, it gets weird.
Weird. Okay. That seems like if you're going to yell that in the middle of a...
That was a wet one.
Oh, golly. Gee, willikers. I feel like if you're going to yell that out in the middle of the funeral, you better be confident. Right?
Yeah, I don't know what she was going through, but there was also a man soon after Betty's death who approached a girl on campus this girl was hanging out by a tree. And he told her he was the Transylvania Strangler.
What?
But falsely, it seems like he just wanted attention. He was just "I'm the Transylvania Strangler."
What a pickup line.
No, you're not, an asshole.
Let us know if that works for anyone. Don't try that.
Another man was reported to police by his wife after he pinned his wife to the floor and told her she was going to get the same treatment that the Transylvania girl got. But again, like the first two, leads nowhere.
Kudos to her, though. If my husband said that to me, I'd be like, I'm calling the police right